wanna get high, man?
Let's stimulate your mind.
Get up, Chucky! What have we got here? A fucking comedian.
Rojan Kim.
Hello, and welcome to the Rojan Kim cast. It's me, Rojan Kim. Thank you so much for joining me. It's the last day of November, at least for me. I don't know when it is for you, but that's what it is right now at this time of recording, November 30th, 2020. A time capsule of sorts of what's going on in these unprecedented times. Time capsule for me, not really for anybody else. I guess, though, if I did do something outrageous like, now this is not real. I'm not saying I would do this, but if I were to, in some sort of show, shoot Gavin Newsom, then they might be like, wow, this podcast was a time capsule of what happened. I think Newsom would have to be the lowest. I mean, where would I have to? Let's see. If I did Garcetti, maybe Garcetti. I mean, it's big enough. LA kind of, I guess, would make enough of a stink about itself to be like, our mayor was killed by this crazy Korean guy. And he's the one who spread COVID in LA. Or I don't know. They could pin it on me, right? They could pin it on me and they'd be like, let's listen to this last podcast he ever did. I don't know why they would do that. Maybe somebody would, kind of like the Unabomber Manifesto. You know? You ever read the Unabomber Manifesto? It's a delight. It was written like in the 90s. I was in school. I was in high school when it happened. I remember he forced the LA Times to print his manifesto, or else he said he was going to blow up LAX and shit, and everybody was scared, and then they did it. They capitulated. They gave the LA Times over to the Unabomber, like the first 2 pages or something, and his manifesto was printed, and I remember reading it and being like, I mean, as much as I could understand it back then as a kid, I agreed with a lot of it. Or I didn't agree, but I was like, I could see what he's saying. But there came a point where he's like, and that means we have to like murder liberal college professors. And at the time I was like, whoa, I had no idea what that meant. Because I was a kid, I only knew about high school. But now, having gone to college and grad school, I completely agree. He was right. The man is batting 1,000. Holy shit. The guy is just knocking it out of the park. You got to read this thing, man. He's talking about how technology is taking over everything. We have no struggle anymore. We don't work hard. We have no creativity because of that. You know what I mean? Like everything is just kind of handed to us, and that leads to sickness in our society. And he blamed a lot of that, the mentality, the sort of technocratic thinking and how we were moving forward on these liberal college professors. I mean, he was a professor at Berkeley in mathematics, so he knew a thing or two, I guess, about liberal. I went to Berkeley, and yes, there were liberal professors there. And at the time, I was like, I'm having a very good education. This is one of the best schools in the nation. I'm having a good education. And I think I was. But when I think back, it's really only a few of them that I felt like I had the best educations from. And what distinguished them from the others was the fact that they didn't all kind of adopt a similar framework for looking at the world. And that framework is, I'll be honest, it's largely Marxist. Okay, it's largely Marxist. It's largely from a leftist point of view. It's largely based on the idea that there is a struggle in society between the proletariat and the bourgeoisie, and that ultimately will lead to the next form of whatever civilization, whatever the next stage is of human history. That's the conflict that needs to happen, and that they believe that we were approaching late stage capitalism, which is a term I'm sure you've heard of, which sort of talks. It's sort of about the excesses and absurdity of sort of the over commercialization and commodification of everything. You know what I mean? Like, which is obvious. I mean, we see it. I mean, and people have been talking about shit like this since the 1800s. Honestly, like they've been going on and on about it. I mean, they've been going on about it forever. Okay, like since ancient Rome, even in Roman times, they talked about how rich people were it was like an absurdity to being rich, and that was not valued. Honor was actually more valuable if you going abroad as a soldier and conquering and helping, expand the empire of Rome was actually more clout than any amount of riches. Rich dudes had to hook up like Julius Caesar in order to get shit done. Julius Caesar needed their money to pay his armies or whatever, but in the end, Julius Caesar is Caesar, right? We don't. Hardly anybody remembers Pompey or whoever the fuck, Crassus, Pompey. What? Who exactly? Nobody's. So, anyway, here we are, guys. 2020. What a strange year it's been, huh? We're December 1st, last month of the year. Now, here's something that I saw. A couple things that I saw, all right, that reminded me of last year. Because last year, I think I said this before, I was sick. I got some kind of weird stomach flu, man. And it was in November, late November, 2019. I visited a jiu-jitsu school, and there's only one dude there, and I rolled with him, and he was a dirty, fat wrestler guy, and he got me sick, okay? And 2 days later, 3 days later, whatever, a day later, I don't know, whatever, a few days, I was fucking out of it. Like, I had the worst stomach is diarrhea, and I know that's now one of the symptoms. Had the worst diarrhea, had the worst stomach flu. It's some respiratory, but not really a lot. But a lot of that. And I remember I was out for like 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks. I didn't do anything. By the last half of that third week, I like swung some kettlebell or something. Like I was able to exercise. I didn't mic at all for like 3 weeks, almost a month, because I felt like shit, and I didn't want to be, I don't want to make people sick, and so then I didn't really start miking again until like probably February-ish, late January, February-ish. Yep, that's right, because my lady had gone off to Prague. Long story, we fought, and she went to the Czech Republic because we fought. No, never mind. It's the whole reason I'm talking about this was like last year, what happened last year, a year ago, before the coronavirus, where the big news was like the election coming out, it was impeachment. That was big impeachment. They're trying to impeach Trump. That was the big news. That's all anybody cared about, impeachment. No idea that there was going to be a pandemic, right? No idea. But I was sick. And so, and I remember when the pandemic started and people were like, I was sick back in November. And I was like, you know what? Nah, that was flu. Like, there was a bad flu. I had the flu. We had the flu. We all had the flu. Okay? Turns out I just saw this thing on CNN. I didn't see it on CNN. I saw it on Twitter because I don't have CNN. I don't want to watch CNN, man. Fucking rot your brain. But once in a while, some juicy clips come out on Twitter, and I will watch those. Okay, and I watched this one. It was Jake Tapper telling us that these leaked Chinese documents show that the government of Hubei province basically fudged all the numbers, basically made like the numbers half of how many cases they found. Also were like inept in finding the cases. They were 3 weeks behind in finding the cases or reporting cases. So once they found cases, it'd be like 3 weeks until they reported them or even knew that they had a case or whatever. So basically there's a 3 week lag between when they're, first reporting they found it, which was December, and then when they might have actually started, right? So that puts us in November. So in November, probably October or September, if you really think about it, it probably occurred in the fall is probably when it started and then spiked, right? The first wave probably was spiking last winter. So I don't know if I got it. I don't know if I had COVID. I'm not saying that I had it. I have no idea. And it doesn't matter if I get tested now. They're like, what? It's a year later. What does, it, I think what I'm saying is that so that Chinese thing comes out, and then if you think about it, okay, then it's definitely spreading throughout the world, right? And so just think back last year. Were you sick? Were you sick with something weird? Was it just something going around? Do you remember? But the flu was going around too. That was the whole thing. And the whole thing is that this report in China is talking about how they were mixing flu and COVID together. It was just like, they had no idea what it was what, right? Because they were similar. And that could have been happening, because I'm sure some of those sick people were traveling And this thing's contagious, so, it was novel, it goes spreading around, right? Probably in LA. I was in LA, one of the major hubs where lots of Chinese, right? Okay, lots of Chinese. Or not just other Asians. It was probably spreading all through Asia. If you really think about it, it was probably spreading through Asia first. It makes sense. It's geographic. Okay, it's not racist. I'm an Asian guy. It's spreading through Asia first. Okay, people traveling out of Asia, spreading it outside of Asia that's probably why when the pandemic started, everybody's like, oh, look how Asia's crushing the virus. They're crushing the virus. It's probably because they already had it. A lot of them already had it, and there's probably a certain amount of immunity, and they aren't going around testing everybody like crazy, okay? Only South Korea was doing that, but not everybody is doing that, okay? They were only testing people who got sick, which is probably what you should be doing. If you think about it, can't be going around. You can't, if you test people and they're not sick, you're like, oh, it's an asymptomatic spreader. Maybe, or it's maybe somebody who had it, who has immunity, okay? And instead of adding this to the case count, what you need to be doing is putting these people out there, right? Forming a buffer between the people who are vulnerable and who are not, like all fucking diseases. Okay, I'm sorry. I mean, it's so I've become he's an anti-vaxxer or anti-masker. He's become Alex Jones. The pandemic's turned Rogan into a Trump-voting Republican Alex Jones. Alex Jones, Trump. Okay. Listen. I think there was a Wall Street Journal. This is not what I think. I saw a Wall Street Journal also on Twitter because I had canceled the Wall Street. Remember, I had to subscribe. I was on. Look. I'm 42, okay? So I was at a crossroads in my life. It was either subscribe to TikTok or the Wall Street Journal, okay? And I picked the Journal, all right? I picked the Journal, thank God. I think that was a good move on my part. A lot of the ladies don't think so. They want to see me dancing, lip-syncing to something. What if I was like lip-syncing to George Carlin? Maybe that's what comedy is now. It's just me on TikTok lip-syncing to George Carlin. I think that's what... that's all we've got left, right? Why make any more jokes when George Carlin has talked about it all, right? He's talked about how fucking we deserve all of this and it's fun. He's just sitting back and watching the fucking freak show and that boomers fucking suck because they fucking sucked and fucked everything out of the economy because they're selfish as fuck. They talked about all this. He's talked about it all, and nothing much has changed since then. I mean, we just have technology, more data. I guess we could talk about that. I guess he's also gone, so someone's got to do it. But I'm not saying I'm like George Carlin at all. Okay, let's get this straight. I'm just saying what I should start doing is lip syncing to him on TikTok and him and Bill Hicks or something. Like all the guys. I don't actually like. I can't. It's not fair for me to say I don't like Bill Hicks. I've seen some and I like, but I can understand why people don't think he's funny. And so I know that that's me too. I'm like, that's probably me sometimes when I do stand up. I know it is. At the litter box and the places. I don't do any stand up now, so it doesn't matter. I'm waiting for the neo-feudalism, like I said last time, right? Where I can perform in front of lords and ladies. Okay. Anyways, there's a Wall Street Journal article. It said that they did blood tests and they found that COVID was spreading around December. They're pretty sure it's spreading around December. Okay. So that I feel like that's just like another piece of evidence. Or, I'm not a fucking scientist or detective or anything. I'm just a guy. I'm just a fucking comic. I'm just literally an unemployed comic. Okay? And I'm just talking about the stuff I see and not on like some crazy, fucking Uncle Conspiracy's website or something. I'm talking about CNN, Wall Street Journal, like fucking square ass motherfucking places. Talking about this stuff. So I feel like, now when I start putting these little pieces together, I start asking, wait a minute, does that mean like, see, everybody's like, we're in a second wave now. The first wave was in spring when it was the worst. It was a surge. Second wave, but are we maybe in the third wave? Maybe we're actually in a third wave. And a lot of these things have 3 wave formations. You know what I'm saying? They have 3 wave. A lot of these graphs you see of these, mostly because it's like seasonal, right? And by the last one, it's not as bad, right? Because people, it makes sense. A fucking disease comes out. Viruses mutate every year. A new virus happens. People get sick. It spikes, right? And then it starts going down because people start getting immune to it, whether through vaccine. More likely, though, because they get it, especially with respiratory diseases, right? Because we've had flu vaccines, but it's not like they're mandatory. It's not like everybody takes them every year, and it's fine. You get it or you don't, and it's not great for you to get it. I get it. And if you're scared, go get it. Go get the fucking thing. Get the vaccine. Put the mask on. Put the shield on. Put your gloves on. Put a full body condom on. I don't care, man. Hazmat suits. Go for it. That's you and your safety. That's up to you, man. But we can't have people in the state imposing it on others. Especially at the cost of the economy, people's lives. I saw this thing that said, you're 3.6 times more likely to die from lockdown-related death if you're between the ages of 25 and 44. Okay, so that, suicide. The fact, I think there's a Twitter thread that breaks it all down, like how that, and it's really these diseases of despair on top of, which was already bad, right? Suicide and the opioid overaddiction and all that stuff. It was already at a crisis. Right now, this has just made it worse. Suicide is much higher. Homicides are much higher. Domestic violence is much higher. Right. Also, you got to factor in the people who didn't get medical treatment and then died because of that. Because everybody's like COVID, but they could have been saved, but they died because of that. All these reasons: isolation, depression. People are just mentally. We already had a mental health crisis. It's amazing that everybody's not shooting everybody up yet. I guess the election really does take people's fucking minds off things. Minds off killing each other, even though they want to kill each other, but it's like, we're gonna vote though. So I guess there's, but boy, if fucking Trump Trump somehow pulls it out of the park. We get to the Supreme Court and they fucking flip a state or some shit. They through one of these paths of victories that he has. That it's sort of like he has to do a fucking triple double decker in order to win, like in the movies, and he fucking nails it. I don't know. Maybe there could be all out fucking civil war. I don't know. But everybody's talking about that. And here's the thing. See, if the media is in on all of this and there's this giant conspiracy, Great Reset, and all of that stuff, why the fuck are they telling us about the China shit? And why the fuck are they telling us about, maybe COVID was around earlier than they thought? And Fareed Zakaria, whatever, on CNN was talking about, again, CNN. Interesting. Again, we're talking about how fucking there is a path to victory for Trump and that you should be prepared. Through the Constitution, the Electoral College Constitution, there's these paths to victory. Okay? You don't need me to explain this to you. There's plenty of people talking about it, but it's either the Supreme Court or the House of Representatives, all right? Something like that. Basically bypassing the popular vote, which isn't even how the president gets elected. That's the thing. The media keeps talking about the popular vote and everybody's a popular vote. Fine. If you want a popular vote, change the fucking Constitution. And you can do that with a popular vote. Anyway. Why are they doing that? Why is the media kind of walking things backwards? Why are they telling us, oh, hey, maybe it's not. They're not. Here's the thing. What they're not doing is being like, hey, we fucked up and we blew this thing out of proportion. We were totally wrong. We didn't even talk about the guys who were totally wrong. We should spend more time on things like, deaths instead of cases. We should stop scaring you and showing you some data that is like, hey, look, this is a reason why you shouldn't be scared. Here, this is a reason why you shouldn't be scared. There's a fucking study that just came out that is the first hard evidence that prior exposure to endemic human coronaviruses may provide a certain amount of resistance to the severity of symptoms. Okay? So basically, it doesn't help you in terms of whether you get it or not, but it might help you in terms of whether you get super sick or not. Okay? I mean, that's a thing. It's likely, at least as one piece of evidence, is more evidence than masks work. Okay? The evidence here, I'm not going to go into the mask thing, but the evidence, quote unquote, there isn't any because you can't run a proper experiment. That's all I'll say about it. You can't really run a proper experiment with masks. They work in hospital settings, sterile settings, where you have lots of sterility. You have fucking many masks to change all the time, and you're dealing with sick people in a room for sure. So yeah, it works there. But in the real world, where you're out and about, walking around and shit, like it's impossible to know. And they've done studies and they've found no difference yet. Maybe they will, but still, that on top of all the fucking graphs that show that you can't find where the mask mandates are, or when you put the mask mandate on the date of the graph and then, look at case counts, it's every time you put in a mask mandate, the case count spikes. So why aren't people saying it's different? Most of the time, most of these graphs, if you see where the mask mandate is, you'll see the cases go up after that. So nobody's being like masks make more cases happen. Maybe they do. I mean, maybe there's a confounding variable like more testing, but whatever, man. Okay, can't stand up too hard to the cathedral to come after you, to cancel you, right? Cancel. I don't know. I think that's gonna be done soon. I feel like maybe I'm white pilled. That's what they call it. White pilled is when you have hope, right? There's still and I am a fucking optimist. Okay, I'm an optimist. Most people don't think I am, and I don't think I should be. But here we are. Okay, I'm a fucking optimist. I believe in people. I believe people will stand up. I believe people will be inspired by others standing up. I believe people will be able to see with their own eyes, with enough people sort of helping them, they'll be able to see with their own eyes that they're being lied to. Okay, gaslit. It's like an abusive relationship. There's this thing I saw that I put up on the old gram, on me gram. That was 15 signs that you might be in an abusive relationship. Okay. 1, stop you seeing friends and family, right? Don't travel for Thanksgiving. 2, won't let you go out without permission, right? Lockdown, safer at home. 3, tell you what to wear, a mask. 4, monitor your phone or emails. I mean, yeah, we know they're doing that, the state. Let's see. Control the finances or won't let you work. Well, that's what's happening now for sure. But 6, control what you read, watch, and say. I mean, that's arguable, right? They don't necessarily control it, but they could be controlling. I mean, there is much to say about how maybe the corporate media is a propaganda arm of the state, and it's not really as independent as you think you are. And even the whole Republican versus Democrat thing, left versus right thing, could possibly be like a KFAB, and manufactured conflict to keep us thinking that that we're free when really it's just theater. Ooh, that was a long. Okay, 7, monitor everything you do. Okay, yeah, we know they are collecting everything, all our data. Punish you for breaking the rules, but the rules keep changing. That's true. 9, tell you it's for your own good and that they know better. 10, don't allow you to question it. 11, tell you you're crazy and no one agrees with you. Boy, I've been there. People do that to me. My own dad. 12, call you names or shame you for being stupid or selfish. Yes. 13, gaslight you, challenge your memory of events, make you doubt yourself. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, they do that. Brad, it never happened. Oh, yeah. Remember how, like, Bill de Blasio was like, go to Chinatown and kiss a Chinaman. And then they're like, no, he was helping. The Democrats are on the side of good. The Democrats are on the side of party of decency and compassion. The Democrats would have never been guilty of insider trading on coronavirus information in the stock market like Dianne Feinstein was. Never would do that or lie to you for 3 years about Russia or lie to you now. Okay. 14, dismiss your opinions. 15, play the victim. If things go wrong, it's all your fault. Now, this is an important one because is what's going on now, especially with the idea of punishing the population for cases going up, like in LA, right? LA, I mean, everywhere, I guess that's what they're doing. They're using case numbers to be like, you guys aren't. So it's basically they're using case numbers as the justification to lock down people because the underlying thinking is the cases are going up because people aren't complying. So we'll then put in more rules. Okay, we'll put in more rules that you have to comply by. And if the cases go down, it's because you followed the rules. And if they didn't go down, it's because you didn't follow the rules. That's why. And this is, of course, begging the question, the fallacy, logical fallacy of begging the question. I talked about it 2 episodes ago. Begging the question. You're assuming that they work in the first place. And so if they're not working, then it must be that people aren't following the thing. I mean, it's just, come on. That's abusive relation. That's number 15 on the wheel of abuse. Okay? It is, though. I mean, it's an abusive thing. We're being fucking gaslit. We're being lied to. All right? You'd see it, but like I said, I'm being white-pilled. I believe, not I'm being white-pilled. I've had a white pill since, I think I've been born with a white pill. Born with a white pill. I crushed it up and snorted it. Except, unfortunately, there were nanobots in the cocaine. Now they're all in my brain, and I could be one of them. Just fucking, I could be a disinformation agent. You know, maybe I'm one of those. I don't know. I wish. You're supposed to get money or something, right? Fuck, I would do it for money. That's how. I guess I just went from believing in humanity to just selling them all out. But but for fun, for jokes, this is the kind of jokes I would do to the lords, like of Google or whatever. You know what I mean? Like the fucking cyber barons and shit. Like that's some good stuff right there. Like fucking fuck the poor. All right. Anyways, so I think what's happening, why I am white-pilled, and to use the parlance of our times, is the hypocrisy of our leaders is exposing everything that's going on, which in turn leads to more resistance, which in turn leads to more people being curious about resistance, which in turn I think leads to more open minds, which in turn leads to more susceptibility to information that is going against what the dominant narrative is. Whatever the story that everybody's like, you know what, we all know this, we all know that. That's usually code for, I've been programmed to say this. I have no idea why. I don't know this at all. Is usually when somebody goes, we all know that, usually means I have no idea what I'm talking about. That's usually what that means. Okay. So yeah, we all know that, the cases are going up because people are eating outside, but that's not true. There's no data backing that up. The restaurants, people catching it outside is extremely rare, and then restaurants at all, the people who have been catching it have been indoors, and not at such not as much as something like 3% of the people who tested positive for COVID. And this is testing positive. It's not being sick. It's testing positive. Again, that's the whole other thing too. On top of that, the tests we're doing, they're not testing to see who's sick. They're testing to see who has viral fragments. That means you might have had it. But like I said at the beginning of this thing, we might have had it back a year ago. So a bunch of us might have had it, and we're testing positive, and that's why they're saying it's asymptomatic. It's being spread asymptomatically. But maybe it's because everybody actually had it, or a lot of people actually had it, and they're spreading it, and it's a weaker version going around now because it already has mutated in a year, right? Just like maybe in Asia, the reason why the case count is that high, people aren't getting as sick, is because it ran through the fucking whole place already a year ago, right? They had the first wave. The first wave was last year. That's why when they were measuring shit in the second wave, which we thought was the first wave, it wasn't as high. It wasn't as high as back then. The reason they don't have the COVID data is because we weren't obsessed about it last year. This time last year, we were not obsessed about that. We were obsessed about fucking impeaching Trump. Okay? So anyways, I'm wondering why the media is like putting this stuff out. Why are they putting out these articles if they're in collusion, if it's all part of the Mickey Mat, like why if it's all part of this thing. And I wonder, is it because of maybe we're gearing towards some kind of war with China? But I don't know. It's the last time we're not going to fight a nuclear power. They have thermonuclear devices. You know what I'm saying? H-bombs, not just, they're talking like something 10, 100 times larger than Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Like, this is not, it's world-ending stuff. So we're not going to do that. But what we could be angling, are we going to be angling for some kind of war? I don't know. On the other hand, you got Trump putting in all these guys. This guy McGregor, he's an advisor now in the Pentagon. Fucking Ellis, the new secretary. All these guys in the military, people are hoping that like maybe they can end a war. Maybe one, just like one. Afghanistan. Fucking Obama said he'd end that one. What the fuck? How about that one? So a lot of people are hoping. For those of us who are hoping, like I'm hoping, that one war ends out of the 7. Come on. We could do it. Huh? During a pandemic? We could do it. But that remains to be seen. So I don't know. Maybe it's sort of the media kind of flipping and taking a pro-war stance, which might be throwing China under the bus. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it's like some naval thing. South China Sea. Okay. So LA has just put in new safer at home orders because of the rising coronavirus cases. And let's see. So it's something like 20%. So some places are open. Like gyms are not open. Bars are not open. But like some retail can be open. Some salons can be open at like very low capacity. They're basically crushing small businesses. I read like a third of the small businesses in New Jersey and New York have been bankrupt. Have gone bankrupt or out of business, whatever. So who knows what's going to happen in LA? Huh? I bet LA is gonna get crushed, right? And then everything will be Amazon and shit. Like it'll just be Amazon and Foot Lockers and shit. I don't know. So maybe that's what's going on. Maybe the data. We're trying to some kind of weird thing. I don't know. The other thing might be that the media is distancing itself, especially with the Trump thing, saying like, hey, he could actually, the media was the first to be all like, it's President-elect Joe Biden. We're calling it for Biden. It's Biden. We get to decide. No, we decide who the president is. It's Biden. And now they're like, well. And then you know what they do? They put one out. Here's what I think, and I may have heard this somewhere, is that it's like a two-pronged thing. One is that instead of completely omitting things, it's like a Brave New World thing, right? You got your 1984 versus Brave New World. 1984 is very strict control. Everything is controlled. Everything is lies, control. So there's that. And we got that, right? But the other element is Brave New World, where they just open the floodgates and just let you see it all. See it all. Yeah, there you go. Then you can't really accuse them of hiding anything, but you're also overwhelmed. It's just too much shit. Just think about all the stuff we found out about. Like we found out there are UFOs this year. We didn't give a fuck, man. There's just so much. There's just so much shit. And especially with the fucking pandemic, everybody's focused on a case count. So much information, graphs, info. It's just fucking fear. It's like using the intellect to get the lizard brain of fear, right? And that's a thing. I feel like it's a tried and true tactic to control fucking shitloads of people, starting with the peasants. You got your peasants, they fought against the aristocracy, and then you got your fucking, bourgeoisie now, and you got the proletariat, and that's, we're supposed to fight each other and get this new thing and ultimately go to communism, this paradise of communism where the workers, the proletariat are running everything, and I don't know if that's a good idea, guys. I don't know. It could also be that, maybe now that the corporate sort of Democrats think they're telling the news guys like chill it out a little because people are fucking freaking out about fucking possible civil war. You're whipping everybody up into quite a frenzy. Maybe we gotta pull the brakes on some of this stuff. Maybe, right? And then meanwhile, while that's going on, I don't know how many people still. I mean, most people do still listen to the corporate press, so that's still a thing. While that's working itself out, all of our data is being collected, right? All of our data. Take all our data. Take the data. Take it. We don't care. We're just giving it up. We're not even fucking, if we were all girls, we'd be whores. We'd be sluts who are just giving it up. Giving it up. Just take the data. Take it. We're not even just bending over and letting them take the data. Just take it, daddy. Take it. Not even gold digging. Not even getting a buck out of it. Like a stripper. A stripper is smarter than we are. Strippers are smarter. They're at least getting money. We should be getting paid for the data, right? We should be getting something. Give us a little taste. You making all this money off the data. Give us a little bit of data. You're going to be using that data against us. You're using the data to make these algorithms, scary algorithms. They fucking predict our behavior. Brought to you by the NSA. Predicting our behavior at every second. Every little interaction that we have, everything's being recorded now. We got phones recording everything. They're going to try to digitize all the money so that all of our transactions can also become data points. All of those things can be connected to our location, everything. Biometric data now. Got your Internet of Things where like every single fucking object is going to have sensors in it. Soon it's going to be nanotech, right? You're going to have the Internet of Bodies where we're going to have wearables, and soon that'll be nanotech too. Right? We're going to be fucking ingesting nanotech, allowing nanotech to incorporate itself into our biological being, figure out, instead of having a fucking pacemaker, you'd fucking could swallow a pill and these nanobots would form something by your heart or whatever, They'd fucking start putting nanobots in the cocaine. Right? They could start putting nanobots in the cocaine. You fucking do a line. If I can have these fucking crazy business ideas, and they fucking just steal all your business ideas, man. The fucking government stealing your best fucking ideas through cocaine. You fucking believe it? That's evil. How evil is that? Right? How dare you? That's so, that's as bad as child pornography, okay? That is, I will put it up there. You stealing these fucking Wall Street and tech bros' business ideas through nanotech, nanobots in the cocaine, that's not cool. Government or Google, or maybe Googlement. I don't know. Maybe it would be the Google and government converge, become one. I mean, that's kind of what's happening. So, yeah, that could happen. All of our shit just being put into the cloud, fucking regurgitated and used against us to force us to buy stuff we don't need. Just things coming up in our feed, right? And also predicting where we'll go, so then they know how to target you there. That not only that, if you ever commit a crime, or if you ever resist the state, maybe that's a crime. Maybe if you think the wrong thoughts, or if you have COVID. They're tracking you, trying to track you, contact trace you. They could do that. They could predict where you might be, even pre-crime you. They could even be like, according to our predictive algorithms, you're likely to become a shooter, or you're likely to become whatever the fear, terrorist, you're COVID, you're spreading it. Whatever it is, they think. And I'm not saying there's some nefarious being behind it, being like, let's just say mistakes. Mistakes happen. It's like Brazil. That movie Brazil, where it's just a little error. One word gets misspelled, and this guy gets sent into the fucking jail, gulag or whatever, Could happen. Is it worth it? For what? Safety? What is it for? For safety, for convenience, for the ease for them just knowing what it is I want to watch, and I can just flip it on. I could just close my eyes and just think about Futurama. The original Futurama. We'll start with the pilot. It's great. But let's play everything at twice the speed, so I go get it all in, you do that. And say, and it's amazing. Wouldn't that, it'd be amazing. It'd be it's better than the Matrix. There's no jack. You don't have to jack in. It's so primitive. The idea of you just fucking put this spike in your goddamn, dude, this is fucking nanobots, all right? It's just going to be nanobots. It's just going to be nanobots. It'll probably even be less invasive than nanobots. I mean, you can still do the cocaine. But here's what I'm saying. You might be able, with augmentation, you might be able to simulate your own cocaine in your brain. Do you know what I'm saying? Is that insane? In the membrane? You know what I'm saying? You could use your own brain chemistry to create endogenous cocaine. You'd be like, you don't even have to. Maybe in your virtual mind, you could take a snort. I mean, that is a cool little thing, that we're all gonna remember. Remember when we used to sniff cocaine? Yeah, and we'll probably simulate it. But really, what you're doing is creating the dopamine drip in your brain, right? And you're like, yeah, and you're like, you know what? How come there aren't any little warmers for computer screens? I guess we wouldn't have computer screens at this point because, well, we would inside our minds. That would be weird, right? Like if you could close your eyes and your mind is now the internet and a computer, and you would need screen. You would still want to look at a screen. It's kind of weird. I mean, maybe that's just because I'm an old dinosaur, and listen to me. Warmer. I'm still thinking in physical terms like a body. Like I have a body. Like the body means anything in this new technology cocoon we're going to emerge from, where we're merged with the machine. You know what I mean? This fucking humanist sort of thing that occurs well. The singularity and all that. I guess pre-singularity, because singularity we have no idea what's going to happen because it's so crazy with the nanobots and the cocaine. Can you imagine how many they're in your brain? You fucking snort them. They go up through the blood-brain barrier, they penetrate it, get into your brain, and fucking augment you. Maybe you want to fucking like a 8K upgrade or something to your eyeballs or something. You know what I mean? Or maybe more storage. Whatever it is, you just snort it. Boom, it gets in there. Boom, you got it, right? And you don't even need like cameras anymore because you just use your eyeballs and then record it, right? Your brain is a computer now. It's like a legitimate computer, like your phone. Your phone is in your brain now. You understand? Your brain and your phone are one. That's what happens when you get nanobots in the cocaine, right? Everybody's afraid of the future. Everybody's like, oh, I don't want to take the vaccine. I don't want to take the vaccine. I'm going to do a little nanotech in there. Is that good? Good. That's what you want. You want the nanobots coursing through your body. You understand? You want nanobots coursing through your body, fixing everything, sending signals, making sure that all the little nooks and cranny of the inside of your body are being reported. They'll know everything. They'll know your fucking dick size, they'll know your clit size. They'll know it all. And that's good, because then they could sell you the perfect little cozy for your clitoris, like the perfect little perfect little cap, little clitoral cap, a little penile head cap, whatever. They'll know your dimensions perfectly, because the nanobots will be just boom, just inside and just pew, 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 pew. Those are all the noises that they're gonna make inside your body while they piece it all together for the corporations, the government. Who cares? Everybody, your neighbor. Who cares? Everybody gets the data. Get it all. Maybe that's the communism that Marx talked about. It's not labor. It's data. Everybody gets it. It's the great equalizer. We're all human beings putting out data. There's no way that any of this could be used against us, weaponized, or fucking the tech companies, or there's no way none of that's happening. Anyways, great reset. Some great cocaine. Great times. Great fun. I don't know. I think lip syncing to George Carlin, talked about that. Talked a lot about it. I know I talked about coronavirus. I know I talked about it. And everybody, I think I'm offering a perspective not a lot of people, have. I mean, some do, much better than I do. So please listen to those people. Can I point you to these people? I don't know. Honestly, I don't really know who. You know what? Tom Woods. Again, Tom Woods, Ron Paul. A lot of libertarians. Good about the COVID, I think. They were right about the Russiagate. Good about this. It's hard to know who to trust. It's hard to know who is right, who is wrong, who you should listen to, who should just fucking be like, nah, I'm not going to listen to that guy. All right? Who to deplatform in your mind. Who should I deplatform next? There's just too much information. You got to filter it out. So I'm not claiming to be an authority or an expert. I'm not being like, you should listen to me because I went to Columbia and Berkeley. I went to a good university and I was very smart. I'm a very smart person. You should listen to me. I'm not doing any of that. I'm in fact telling you I'm a comic. I'm an unemployed comedian. I'm a clown. I'm a dreg of society. I'm useless to. If there was a proletariat revolution, they would line me up on the wall and shoot me because I am a threat or hindrance. Either way, there's no place for me in this new society. In the Great Reset, that unless I can make it to that treasure jester spot where I'm doing comedy for our cyber barons and baronesses, and also for the fucking hoi polloi, the Morlocks, right? The fucking massive tent cities. Unless I can do comedy for both of those crowds, I got no place. They're gonna send me to the gulag. They're going to kill me, whatever it is. They'll liquefy my insides and feed me to the rich. I don't know. I don't know why the rich would want to eat liquefied me, but it might be tasty. Anyways, all I'm saying is I'm just a guy. Yeah, I see this stuff. It's all being put out, and I'm piecing it together, and I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm asking questions. And trying to be funny and entertaining. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed this episode of the Rojan Kimcast. This was episode 215. I think I'll call it Nanobots and the Cocaine. Why not? Or lip syncing to George Carlin. That's another good one. Maybe I'll save that one for another episode. Anyways, follow me, please, on Twitter and Instagram. Follow me out there on Spotify, YouTube. You know the stuff. Apple, Google, all of it. RojanKim.com. Thank you. Goodbye.